analyst, who has just joined us. Thank you so much for getting time this morning. Fanyamambo already had engaged, of course, Ode Widi and Honorable James Gakuya. We are on our dailies this morning, and today we are focusing on the Meru Governor, Kawira Mwangaza, who is actually facing her third impeachment, and she'll be before the plenary for the next 2 days, today and tomorrow, before her fate is determined. Perhaps as a political analyst, what could be ailing Mwangaza and how can that be solved?
I think Mwangaza has forgotten two things. Being governor is being a politician and at the same time being a leader. Now, she has forgotten that she needs to manage the politics of Meru. Because it doesn't matter what you do for the people, or it doesn't matter what you think is right for the people. If you're not able to manage the politics of your county, then you have a problem. She has had a very condescending attitude towards the MCAs, who basically are the people who she's supposed to be working with. So these impeachments will continue. Whether Senate saves her or doesn't save her, these impeachments will continue until she gets to a point where she says, wait a minute, there is no time a governor will work without working with MCAs. I mean, the president is always working so hard to work together with parliament. So she has to find a way to realize that Meru does not belong to her way of thinking. Meru belongs to sitting down with these people. They are elected, whether she likes them or not, whether she appreciates them or not, or whether she thinks lowly or highly of them. That's her problem. These people are elected. And she has to get to a point where she says, wait a minute, what do we want to do together for Meru? Not what do I think as Governor Kawira Mwangaza is fit enough for Meru. And when she gets to that point, then she will have been able to manage the politics.
Honorable Gakuya, still on the same breath, perhaps the Meru governor does not want to set a precedence where MCAs blackmail you with the impeachment so that there are at least some monies you allocate for them so that you grease the wheels.
Joe, political issues want to be dealt with politically. And Kawira having a time of a duration of 2 years now in office, she ought now to have understand what is the cause of her issues. And at this point in time, I think she would have learned some mistakes she did. If the problem is with the MCAs, then she should find a way of crafting that problem. And let me tell you, MCAs, even though asking for development projects, that's not a crime, because it is a duty of the governor to make sure that there are development projects within every ward, within that particular Meru county. And therefore, whether it is in law or not, they have to be aware that the developments are well spread to the whole county of Meru at every financial year. No matter how little it is, but at least every single MCA must feel that you have something that you can take back to lowest units of wards. And therefore, I would like to say that must not be the problem. The problem must be something else. Also, the MCAs are very much aware. The counties and every government resources are audited. And therefore, any single demand of misuse of funds must get their trap at the auditor's report. So they don't want to even themselves to go that direction. And therefore, I'm telling you, has to be something politically being cooked. And this is what I suspect that in fact Kawira took a running mate who wasn't a running mate of her side. Because that running mate, to me, I believe is the one who cooks all this. Yes. And it actually, I can tell you, because I'm not far from Meru politics, that deputy is a rapport of those other politicians. And then I'm asking myself, my deputy has a rapport, and I am the one who picked him. Then there has to be a problem. And therefore, the problem that is in Kawira is not far from her. It's just around her. Number two, I can also tell you, Kawira must also distinguish how and when to bring her husband to the politics. The politics must take completely from the handling of Meru management of the office. Let me tell you, sometimes I look at that man with the guitar, And I failed to understand, now what is this? Because if there's somebody who today could be helping Kawira, is that husband. If that husband is somebody who is wise enough, he's the one who could be dealing with it, not the wife. Should be himself, the handling with the MCAs. But I can tell you for sure, that man also has a problem because he could be the savior of her spouse.
Odoyo, you know, previously governors have lamented that there have been attempts by especially MCAs to blackmail them so that, you know, there are at least some monies that you set aside for them, perhaps even monthly, so that you're in good books with them, failure to which you're likely to face this impeachment. In fact, there are even counties that there are, you know, blatant corruption cases, but the governors have not been impeached on the grounds that they've managed to, you know, put the MCAs in their pockets. Could this be something you're witnessing with Meru? And by Senate saving her, then it becomes a clear message to the MCAs that this is not the way to go, especially when it's corruption involved. And even previously, she has put that in her defense.
You know, whenever you go before the Senate to defend yourself against impeachment by MCA, it is normally a judicial process where there are evidence, there are submissions, and there are decisions being made. You remember Kawira's first impeachment attempt. It was not even after any financial year. We need to have reports from different government agencies also accusing the governor of having done A, B, C, D. People will always have evidence. But as Mwashmiya was saying, there is definitely somebody powerful enough out there who wants the governor out. Definitely. Because this thing can't be recurring like this. And as Fanyamama was saying, even if she is saved now, this thing will recur. Because the same people who once are out are still there, and they have not been properly identified, and people sit on a table and agree on the way forward. Kawira must either play politics or get out of politics and go and look for a job of appointment, not elective. Because he elective ameshindwa. These MCAs are not many enough they are not many enough for her to fail, to bring them around a table and agree on something. And as you say that MCAs many times, they blackmail governors so that they get certain things out of the county government. That is also a possibility. It is very possible when a governor stands his or her ground that you cannot get this because the law does not allow it, you cannot get this because it will interfere with service delivery in the county. Sometimes they do the blackmail. But again, we have to see what are they accusing the governor of? What has she failed to do? Where is the evidence? Where is the data? So those are the things we need to look at. In fact, sometimes I think even the national government needs to put commissions or investigators to find out what really ails before the president makes a decision whether we need to dissolve a certain county or not.
Well, let's now focus on...
Joe, let me just add a small line there.
Sure.
I am telling you, it's a suicidal for anybody to get the tag of impeachment. Because once you are impeached, then you cannot hold public office. That is a death knell, politically. In this case, that's what happened to Sonko and Waitito. They could not be able to be cleared in the last election for what we call gubernatorial running. And in this case, I can also tell you, even the Senate must be also very, very smart to kill you politically. Because hitting you with that particular death knell tells you then you have to exit from the political...
And perhaps that's why we see governors trying to bribe senators to save
There's one thing we need to take very serious note of. You see, Kawira Mwangaza just failed. She's a terrible politician, if you ask me. Because there are 45 wards in Meru. What these MCAs did, they went round the award making promises to the people. And then 2 years down the line, they have nothing to show to the people. You know, when you're campaigning, you tell people anything. 2 years down the line, these MCAs have nothing to show to their people, and they feel they will not be elected again in 2027. If Kawira Mwangaza took 45 days, 1 day per ward, just associate with each MCA and launch something together with that MCA, and let the MCA play the lead role, and you be seen as Kawira Mwangaza to come and say, huyu wenyu mulichagua, akawaahidi barabara, tumekuja tumetengeneza hii. You know, 1 day per ward, only 45 days. That would have made a whole difference. So for her as a governor, and even for the MCA.
You're considering her a failed politician. If today, let's say even for June 27, if at all she survives today, will she be re-elected in your opinion?
You see now, there's a problem.
It's believed she has the ground, despite MCs not supporting.
You see, there's a huge problem. Forget about this ground. By the way, I hate this conversation about ground. What is ground? Ground is these people who come and choose Barabbas and leave Jesus. I mean, in Nairobi, we had a guy who used to box gates and do other sorts of funny things. And then he was going against people like Peter Kenneth and against people like... And people voted for that one. So forget that. Sometimes I have a problem with the voter, and we need to start having a serious conversation on what goes on in the mind of a voter. What is this thing you call ground? I think before 2027, we need to start first going and telling the ground, you are wrong. Before you even tell us you are... Can you imagine that ground voted for William Ruto? What is this thing you call ground? It's a collection of people who do not know what is good for them. And then they come and start crying after they've done things that are horrible and unacceptable. So let us not have this thing called kusikiza ground. Let us become leaders who are going to tell the ground, tumekuja kuambia, you people are wrong. Like I hear sometimes, I've heard in Waithaka, let me tell you. You should
Waithaka, that is the
Waithaka award, yes. I don't even know what I don't know what was going in my mind going for award seat, but I did. And let me tell you, when you see the people they reject and the people they vote, and then you go and they tell you...
Not in your sense?
I had not thought about the voter. Let me tell you, I had not thought about the voter. But today when I sit in retrospect, even if people tell me I didn't win that seat, I tell them the problem is not the candidate. The problem is the voter. And we need to start changing the voter completely because they don't know what they are going for. I mean, the fact that Kawira can win an election in Meru, think about the learned people in Meru, think about the caliber of people who come from Meru, and Kawira became their governor. There's a problem with the voter.
Well, let's just highlight...
also, take note of that, in fact, Kawira was elected on an independent ticket. And let me also tell you, that same ticket was won by the Voi governor. But there's no problem in Voi. It means that when you are independent and you have no backup, because you have no MCA elected under your umbrella of independent, and therefore you are dependent from those other parties. But that does not mean that actually there cannot be a peace in that particular county because of that particular political arithmetic.
Well,
one has to play his game
on
well.
the Daily Nation this morning, it splashes of the store reforms plunge schools into confusion more than a year after President William Ruto's after the Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms report was launched. Many of the recommendations are yet to be implemented. The situation has affected government funding for education and operations within the crucial sector. That is on the Daily Nation. On the Star newspaper, Audit and Arts Financial rot at the Sports Fund. More than 5.4 billion was not supported by expenditure returns. Also, still on the same cover page of the People Daily, there is an image there of President William Ruto, who has now received his second doctorate. He's now Dr. William Ruto. On the People Daily, on the Taifa Leo rather, Gachagua arusha mishale, aonya wanaomkamata miguu milimani kwamba chuma chao kimotoni katika uchaguzi mkuu wa mwaka 2027. That is what is on Dailies, but let's now shift focus to our topic of the day, that is the state of the nation. And my director will play this particular clip. That is on the Azimio. La Umoja affiliate parties are now threatening today to purge out ODM party. Director, we have that clip by Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, among other, of course, members in the Azimio. Let's have it.
Tukiwa hapa siku ya leo na Kalonzo Musyoka, tumesema kesho Jumatatu tutakuwa na mkutano wetu wa Azimio. Na sisi tukiwa kwa huo mkutano tunaenda kuamua wanaotaka kwenda serikalini waondoke polepole, wafanye nini? Waende. Tukibaki sisi tumesema tunataka tuwatetee ninyi Wakenya wenzetu na watoto wenu wa Gen Z. Hata hapa Kirinyaga najua kuna Gen Z walizikwa.
Sisi tumeamua kusonga mbele na Azimio na vyama tanzo, vyama members wa Azimio, wale ambao wako willing, wale ambao wameamua kuingia kwa serikali pia wako na uhuru. In fact, I remember brothers party DAP wametoa resolution kama hiyo kwamba wanaotaka kuingia kwa serikali wako na uhuru kuingia kwa serikali, lakini sisi tumeamua tutakuwa wapinzani.
Raila ameamua kwenda EU na huko tumemutakia baraka, na sisi hatuendi EU, sisi tunabaki dunia hii ya Kenya, na kuna shida hapa Kenya, na ile tuko naye hapa ni lazima tuungane na Wakenya tuhakikisha kwamba Kenya imeenda sababa. And it is important to also say that when you talk about my party leader Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, his mind is also clear. Aliambia watu wa dunia hii hasa hapa Mount Kenya, musiungane, musiende kwa UDA, kuna shida. Sasa hawezi kuwa yeye ndio anaambia mtu mwingine asiende waungane naye kwa serikali.
Well, I want to tell Ruto and his people, if you want to bring road tolls again, please go build your own house, your own roads, not the ones that Kibaki and Uhuru built, and then you can introduce the tolling.
Sasa unaweza olewa na mtu akikuacha mara tatu na bado unamfuata.
Leo Ruto ana confidence kubwa sababu wenzetu wa Azimio wameingilia mlango wa nyuma, wamemwongezea numbers. Ukienda kule Nyanza jana nimesikia wenzetu wakisema sababu Ruto ametupa wizara nono, Ruto is not so bad. Sasa hata sisi hatutapiga Ruto vita.
Tutahakikisha vijana tukienda mbele, tutaona vile tutaunga vizuri. Sio serikali tutapanga, tutatenga, tutakuja tujadiliane na vijana kila county.
Leo tumesikia sababu wenzetu wa ODM wanaingia katika serikali. Sasa wanataka kuongeza ushuru tena. Sisi tunataka tuambie watu wa Kirinyaga, sisi tukiona Kalonzo Musyoka, sisi tutaendelea kusimama na wananchi kupinga ushuru wa Zakayo usiendelee kuongezeka.
Just to begin with you, Eugene Amalwa, the Jubilee SG, Kioni, and why party leader Kalonzo Musyoka now want to purge Raila Odinga from Azimio. Will that succeed?
I think, first of all, in Kenya, we like pretending too much. In Kenya, as we sit today, there are two political formations. These so-called Azimio remnants who wants to purge Raila Odinga. They know, but in February, Raila Odinga will go to AU. What is the purge all about?
ODM as a party. It could be not Raila Odinga, but
yes,
ODM.
Raila Odinga is currently the leader of Azimio, whom they want to remove from office so that Kalonzo Musyoka takes over. That same Raila Odinga is destined for going to the AU, as Kioni says, in February. And at that point in time, it will not require even any judicial process to have him removed and so somebody takes over. It will be automatic. They can sit down and agree. But they want it done so early. You know, they want to take it before the people are prepared for the takeover date. They know if Raila Odinga goes and somebody else becomes the head of ODM, it may be difficult for Kalonzo to ascend to the leadership of that so-called Azimio thing. But also we must know that this Azimio thing they are making so noise about, it was set up to do only two things: to pass the BBI and to make Raila Odinga ceremonial president. That was the work of Azimio that it was set up for. When both failed, I think we are wasting time with this thing called Azimio. They better think of a new political coalition to move on with towards 2027. In any case, there are only two political formations in Kenya today. The one led by William Ruto and most likely the one led by his deputy. His deputy left him long time ago. I happen to have been... I happen to be with the president this weekend, this week in Kisii. We went to a place called Kenyanya. And the president talked about development projects here, there, development projects, what he's going to do, what he has done, why he's doing the things he's doing, where he got the money. When his deputy stood to talk, he was telling the Kisiis how the Kisses are relatives of the mountain and they should work together going forward. Really? And on the last day, we went to a place called Borabu to launch a road. The president spoke, then called his deputy, who talked for 1.5 minutes. And what did he do? He went and sat in the car. That is what I saw. So from where I sit, when you do political analysis, it is events, statements, and actions that make you make decisions. The president and his deputy parted ways long time ago. Let us not pretend.
Fanya mambo, on Odinga being ousted from Azimio, is it at all order? And perhaps, you know, the grievances by these affiliate parties in Azimio are relevant, that ODM is in bed with the government.
There was CORD died, life went on. There was NASA died, life went on. There's Azimio is dead, life will go on. It's that simple.
Absolutely. Is it dead or they want to purge Raila?
No, Azimio is dead. What do you mean?
So without Raila, Azimio is normal?
Azimio is dead. Azimio is dead. There is no Azimio. Because, I mean, the constituent parties that made Azimio, the minute President William Ruto was declared president, before the courts could even make their ruling, he had already taken all the people from the North Rift who had some funny parties who even forgot their name, and they had all left Azimio and joined government. Now, ODM, I think, was salivating at government, and then they were only late to join government. So they joined as well, like the Northwest, like the Northeastern parties, they also joined government. So we were left with these other parties. I mean, Azimio, the way it's registered at the political parties, is registered as a collection of all those parties. So if some constituent parties leave, then it's no longer Azimio. They can change the name. And I think, why are they trying to purge people from Azimio? If I was Kalonzo Musyoka and Kioni, my good friend Jeremiah, what are you doing? Why don't you just form a new thing, form a new vehicle, and say now this is, and come up with a new name. Come up with something new that is fresh, that is their own, and bring like-minded people on board. Kenyans want something new right now, and run with it. Don't continue trying to waken up a dead donkey and trying to beat it up and telling endelea kubeba mzigo. Ya nini? If it's dead, it's dead. There's no wasting time on it. Yeah, but also you mentioned something. You mentioned something about the sports thing, where we've lost about 5.4 billion. And you know, teachers are about to go on strike, which is a sad thing. And look at it, I've always told Kenyans, if you're at home, pick your calculator. 5.4 billion. For those who didn't know, a billion has got 9 zeros. So you just take 5, then you put 4, and then you put 9 zeros. Yeah, then now there you have 5.4 billion. If you divide that by 34,000, the salary of a standard teacher, you'll see what it gives you. If you go again and divide by 12 months, that money can employ 13,000 teachers. That's what was lost to a few crooks.
So there's need to deal with corruption.
Yes.
We are doing for a commercial break. Before that, Honorable Gakuya, you know, although he has mentioned that there are only 2 political outfits in this country, one led by the president and the other by the DP. You are, you know, regarding Gachagua as a strong ally. What do you have to respond to Owidi's, you know, statements this morning?
Well, let me say that Odoyo has his own light to shape his opinion. I don't think that actually he's wrong, because that is what he has assessed. But I would say there is no parallel government. We have only one government under one president, who is William Ruto, and his deputy. What I can say, very authoritatively, is like politics is like a marriage. And sometimes marriages are with some disarrays, and sometimes they are comfort. And there is those comfort times and those disarray times. At a point of when the tides are too many, like the too hard, like the tides that previously we are in, which also created the room for Raila Odinga to have an entry into the government. I think that was a big storm. And that storm can tell you there was a very extraordinary division between the two leaders. And William did it purposely to make his comfort within that particular coalition between him and Gachagua.
Allow me to cut you short at this point. We'll be coming, of course, back with that conversation. Even as we still focus on the state of the nation, we take a short commercial break yet again. When we come back, we'll be touching still on matters of politics and as well government's efforts to generate revenue to fund President William Ruto's second budget. We'll be back with that conversation, but keep the conversation going. Via social media platforms at K24 TV, Joel Church, as well on our SMS and WhatsApp numbers on the bottom of your screens. I'll be sampling them before wrapping up New Dawn this morning. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
We interrupt this programme to bring you some breaking news.
Meet the team of undercover teenage spies working for a